The Grand Theft Auto universe is full of troubled characters, and as much as it can be a source of entertainment at times, it can be ever so slightly unsettling. And in today's video, we're going to be exploring one such example in GTA 5. You see, as you explore this world space, there's every chance you might have encountered some hitchhikers. Simple pick up and drop off random encounters that are seldom more significant than that. And all we get is a curious conversation that leaves us with implications regarding that character. They're all typically a bit odd, as is the way of the franchise, but one in particular has very dark implications indeed, and stands perhaps a cut above the rest in the realms of weird. I am of course talking about the encounter with Ursula, the psycho hitcher. This particular character comes as a random event. However, being random doesn't mean it can't be activated reliably. In this case, by heading to a specific point, or should I say road, on the world map. The road in question begins in Grapeseed and passes south of Mount Chiliad, and the event, provided it hasn't already been done on a save file, shouldn't prove too tricky to activate. As we're driving along this largely dirt track, we may happen upon a woman, made distinguishable by her red rucksack, and once within range, she'll call to us.
I'm lost. Can you give me a ride home, please?
Sure, okay. Come on.
Finally, a nice man. Thank you.
And now, like most hitchhikers, we'll simply need to take her to her chosen destination.
I live out at Catfish View, Mount Gordo, by the lighthouse. It's very isolated.
In this woman's case, an isolated house nearby to a lighthouse near Mount Gordo. It's an interesting part of the world of Grand Theft Auto 5, and I'm sure I'll touch down on that coincidence a bit later on. As for the time being, however, it doesn't take long for the woman's dialogue to cause our eyebrows to hit our hairlines.
Am I glad you came along? I was out hiking and got lost. I've been trying to flag down a car for over an hour.
Why didn't you just call someone to come pick you up?
I couldn't get a signal on my cell, and I don't really have anyone to call, not since Mama passed. She was very hard on me, but how I loved her. I have her hair in my backpack.
What?
First, she mentions how she keeps her mother's hair in her backpack, which, as you can imagine, is very normal behaviour indeed. Unfortunately, however, the oversharing and waffling continues and only really gets worse.
The days get long out at that house all alone. I don't get many visitors anymore. The gardener used to come on Fridays till he got real sick and fell off that cliff.
So the gardener at this woman's isolated house caught a bad case of falling off a cliff. It could be the man genuinely contracted a disease that made him dizzy and as a result he fell off a cliff, but somehow I doubt that's what this woman means, especially since she just confessed she's got her mum's hair in her backpack.
Oh, well, you know how they like to talk. But now, it's just me, living on soup. Soup I make from old soup after soup after soup. I have to get out of there sometimes and clear my head. Those damn birds, always singing no matter how many times I poison them. Bird soup. Soup with bird. Birds with soup.
As a general rule of thumb, it's unwise to start mumbling unsettling nonsense after claiming to have your deceased mum's hair in a bag and bringing up suspicious circumstances regarding your gardener's death. But alas, here we are.
Every night I think I found peace, but then morning comes and with it another fresh hell. I come up here to escape them and they're still singing, taunting me. No, the house hasn't been the same since Mama passed. Most days I just work on my project so I can be rich and have all the gentleman callers I want, like a real lady sipping on tea on a porch, you know? I love working with rubber, burning it, tasting it. You've got shoes, you've got feet, am I right? Hello? Clothy cloth ears, are you listening? You've got shoes, you've got feet, am I right?
Man, I'm not gonna say you're wrong.
But what about shoes that look like feet?
You mean toe shoes?
Yes, shoes that look like feet. That's what I just said. Shoes that look like feet. Shoes that look like feet. Feet that have shoes on them that are feet.
Because you know you can buy those already, right?
No, you can't, Mr. Silly Pants. How can you buy them already if I haven't made them already? Dummy dum-dums. I like you. You're silly. The gardener was silly. He got sick. Folk talk.
You sure you okay?
Are you okay? Because this guy who picked me up the other week wasn't okay. He choked to death on his own hand.
Wait, how does one choke to death on their own hand? Would they have to insert it down their own windpipe, or would they have to strangle themselves to death? I suppose she's using the same fell-off-cliff disease approach to explaining away this death that occurred in her presence, but the picture is rather clear at this point.
Okay, it's official. Your ass is crazy.
Crazy Maisie sitting on a daisy. Or what are you gonna do? Spank me? Shave me? Lock me in the cellar with a spider called Molly Foster? Dress me up as a boy and make me drink through a little pink straw? Because you can. Mama oftentimes would. Don't pick your scars. Stop eating soil. Where's your pony, little girl? I'm Johnny now. The pony's dead. I hate you! I love you! Will you be my daddy?
Fuck, man, and this is why you don't pick up hitchhikers.
Okay, I'm fine. Focus on the sunshine, go to the garden, pick them pretty flowers. I'm sorry. I didn't mean nothing. I get so anxious ever since Mama took Blanky away and burned him. You seem like such a nice man. Have you ever drunk a mint julep? Why do I always go and ruin everything? Just like I did with that litter of puppies. I'll just be quiet. Yeah, maybe that's a good idea.
So, from a random car ride picking up a hitchhiker, we have come away with this woman's entire life story. Let's drop her off and then talk about it.
This is it, thank you. Here's my number, will you call me sometime? I get so lonely out here all by myself. I love you.
I'd say let's address the elephant in the room, but it's more like a room full of elephants at this point. Thanks to the fact that she's now frighteningly in our contacts, we know her name is Ursula, and our riveting conversation with her revealed that she had a rather scuffed upbringing, in which it's obvious she didn't have the healthiest of relationships with her mother, and she not awfully subtly implied that she kills people. Oh yeah, don't forget the vendetta against birds. Yeah. But to our knowledge, she's killed, at the very least, a previous gardener of her estate, presumably this lovely abode, isolated out in the sticks, and the driver who'd made the error in judgment of picking her up in the past, whom she'd pushed off a cliff and strangled to death respectively according to her own claims, albeit indirectly implied. As for her own mother, it's unclear how she died, but Ursula keeping her hair in her trusty rucksack would suggest that she too is a victim to her daughter's murderous urges, and the hair was kept as a trophy. This would therefore suggest that Ursula, our new friend, is a serial killer. However, based on other conversations in the car ride over here, it's very apparent that mentally she's not all there. She seems to think that toe shoes will only ever exist if she invents them. She flicks from one topic to the next fairly easily, not seemingly recognizing the dark nature of them, and emotionally adjusts to suit, and she briefly mentions in passing she had a childhood obsession with eating soil, which should you call her for a social outing and she's not available, she might respond with this.
What's going on? Can I see you?
Now isn't a good time. I've been binging on soil again.
Sounds delightful. Spare me a plate. As for her apparent killings, I couldn't find any information beyond her conversations that would suggest that she does indeed kill people. If she does, she's very good at killing people nobody would miss, or at the very least, making it so they never find the body, as there are no news articles nor reports that would imply the authorities have detected her activities in any capacity. However, she does claim people talk, but then again she's paranoid about the birds taunting her, so maybe she's being paranoid about that too. As for other evidence that she might be out killing people, well, in another phone call where she unfortunately declines a social outing, instead of claiming she's been on an ungodly soil binge, she might say this.
Are you ready to have some fun?
I can't right now. I have a little problem I need to bury.
It's certainly tricky to determine how reliable a narrator she is. but I suppose the implication is she's unable to meet with us because she's busy burying a body, meaning she's likely killed more than the people she's spoken about killing. Furthermore, she's presently homicidally active. As for clues at her home out here, there is a basement, so her comments about being locked in it when she was younger ring true at least. There's a rather bawdy looking scarecrow thing in the vegetable patch in the garden, but perhaps the most striking detail about her abode is the dartboard on her porch. As you can see, rather than using darts on this board like a normal individual, somebody has been using meat cleavers, as suggested by the fact that 2 of them are embedded into the wall. Fortunately, the accuracy could be better, but somebody's practicing throwing big knives at things. Sure, it could just be an innocent, if not ludicrous, adaptation of darts, but not when there's a big question mark over the resident of this house killing people. As for the locale, it's probably a murderer's paradise. Ursula claims the place is very isolated, and it sits in the shadow of Mount Gordo, where we know at least somebody has gotten away with murder in the past. The house and the lighthouse nearby are not located far from where we can find the ghost of Jolene Cranley Evans, and she was killed by Jock Cranley here in the 1970s. And the modus operandi in question was her being pushed off a cliff, not dissimilarly to the fate of Ursula's gardener. And you know what? Yeah, it's a very rocky region. So if Ursula has indeed pushed somebody off a cliff in the past, she was in the right place to do it. So now that we've established that she's rather extensively nuts and quite plausibly is murdering people, it's time to address what happens should we give her a ring and it turns out she's actually available.
So what's your next couple of hours looking like?
I'll be waiting for you at the marina.
Firstly, ignore the guy in the car. I kind of stole the car and he refused to leave. But for some reason, Ursula will be at the marina in Sandy Shores. Now, she either owns a boat and likes to go out and do boat stuff, or she has access to a boat so that she can take bodies out into the water to dispose of them. Either way, it's a curious place for her to just casually be hanging out considering what we know about her. And sure enough, upon our arrival, she'll just sort of be idling outside with a red rucksack.
Hey there. I could kill you right here! Every time!
As for a dialogue in these social encounters, well, as you can imagine, it's still weird.
I'm so happy that we're boyfriend and girlfriend now.
You're a nice girl, aren't you?
We're gonna do it in Mama's bed.
Well, that's one way of looking at things.
As soon as I knew you were coming, I killed the cats, just to make it special.
Man, ain't you a nice girl?
We can't use my room. I ate all the drywall again.
For sure, baby.
Mama never approved of male company, but Mama's dead.
Well, that's an interesting idea.
Nearly there.
Upon arriving at Ursula's abode with Ursula in tow, you know what happens next.
Follow me, lover boy.
You follow Ursula into her house and engage in some naughty business. Fortunately, we're spared the visual detail on that.
Look me in the eye! Don't stroke, slap!
Now, as an interesting thing it would seem, the game has a tendency to resort to rainy weather when you're done, and I suppose that'll help sober you up to the reality of what Franklin here has just done off camera. Now, there's not a right lot to be gathered from this, and honestly it's a shame that such an interesting character is reduced to a booty call from here on out. Ursula's dialogue remains disturbing, though is generically acknowledged, meaning it doesn't really mean anything. For instance, she apparently killed the cats when she knew we were coming, or any naughty business will have to occur on her mother's bed. Beyond themselves, these lines don't lead to any revelations, they only further suggest her depravity in passing. As for the suggestion that she habitually eats drywall, we'll just skip over that. But while there's not a right lot of meaningful interaction in these encounters as such, the game still does just enough to make us come away from it with questions about how messed up this woman must be. Anyhow, following interactions of the filthy variety, Ursula will send us a provocative text Rinse repeat really, there are 3 of them in total. They don't necessarily add anything of value to the topic, or at least the formatting of the topic I'm attempting to go for. Now, it's clear that Ursula is mentally unstable, and the reason why she kills is likely due to the less than happy conditions of her upbringing. She kept her mother's hair because her mother shaved her head when she was a child, and as a result of her mistreatment she matured with very limited social development, and along with it likely a sense of right and wrong. As for her habits of consuming soil, drywall, and ancient soup, along with her apparent proclivity to murder, it would seem all of these activities stem from a desire to spite her mother, as Ursula constantly brings up her mother's disapproval of many such activities, and by keeping her mother's hair in her bag, I suppose in Ursula's mind it means that she's never far away when Ursula insults her memory. And thanks to Rockstar not necessarily elaborating further beyond that, that concludes our little delve into the Psycho Hitchhiker. I'd like to thank you all for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's shortish video. I haven't done a Grand Theft Auto video like this in a while, and honestly that's because GTA 6 is still a long way out in the grand scheme of YouTube content, so for the past few months I've been focusing on other content, but there is of course more work to do, and of course plenty of time to do it all. No matter, if you did enjoy today's video, be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share the channel with your friends, all that wonderful stuff. It would be massively appreciated. And be sure to let me know in the comments section if there's anything you'd like to see me go over. Your feedback is invaluable to me with regards to what topics you'd like to see covered in future videos. Beyond that, however, I'd hate to unnecessarily chew your ear off further, so I'll thank you once again for watching, and with any luck, I hope to see you all very soon with another video at some point. But until next time, please take care and goodbye.